Hello, friends, and welcome to LoveTalk Network. We are so grateful that you've chosen to spend your 4th of July here with us. I'm Coach Kerri Brinkater. I'm in studio with my amazing friends, Cathy Underbrock and Marlene McMichael, and we are bringing you a very special program today. The 4th of July, our nation's 250th anniversary. Wow. We are so excited to bring you a program that's a bit different for us, but we want to make sure today that we honor those who have served our country in such a valiant way. And that's exactly what we're doing today. Hello, Cathy. Hello, Marlene. It's great to see you guys today.
Hey, it's great to be here, Coach Kerri. And I want to say a very special thank you to our program sponsor, Santa Rita Ranch. Santa Rita Ranch is located in Liberty Hill in the thriving Williamson County area. They put you close to all of life's essentials: schools, shops, dining, employers, entertainment, but without the big city gridlock, which we all, if we can avoid it, we want to avoid it. Less driving for Santa Rita Ranch means more happy time. It's convenience, hill country style. We just encourage our listeners to check out their move-in ready home starting in the 400s at santaritaranch.com. Get more out of your everyday life. santaritaranch.com. Thank you for being a sponsor for today's program. Yeah, Coach Kerri, I love today's program. It has really made July the 4th so much more special. I know it's the 250th year anniversary, but we have in what I like to think of as letters from our veterans. Mm-hmm. And so we have some very poignant memories and words of advice and encouragement, inspiration from several veterans who have answered a few questions for us. And we have some really just fun things to share with those who are joining us today.
Absolutely. Marlene, you were a military wife for many years, for a decade, and you loved your time in the service.
I really did. It was very special. And it just, not only because of the places that we went to, and we were in Germany, we were, in North Carolina, Arizona, all over the map. Texas, all over the map. My daughter was actually born while we were still floating around the world. But it's so exciting to me for this program today. 4th of July means something to families. And in my neighborhood, everybody's beginning to put up the bunting and the flags outside. And I love that. It was hard for me to end that phase of life because you felt like you were always nested with friends. And so we gained many, many friends. Some we still know, even though we live miles and miles apart. So it's really special to be in the military.
Y'all, I know you can hear this over the airwaves, but I don't know if Marlene's smile gets any bigger than when she talks, number one, about Jesus, but number two, about the military. She just absolutely loves it. I know you can hear that passion in her voice. I can see it on her face. And I know that you guys can hear that as well.
I don't know what the current protocol is, but back in that day, they had, particularly in Germany, 2 separate organizations for women and family members. One was PWOC, which is the Protestant Women of the Chapel, and the other one was MCCW, and I forgot what that stands for.
But all the military abbreviations.
But that was the Catholic delegation, and they had these meetings for us, and one of the things I noticed when we were there is that the young wives were very, and I was one of them, but they were very unhappy because as a military, a lower rank individual, they didn't have housing back in Germany for those families. So you had to be upper level to get the housing. And so they didn't have much money. And so they were lonely and they missed home.
Sure.
But so the Protestant Women's Chapel became very important to me. And I actually ended up holding retreats and organizing that for them. And the funny part about that was all the rest on the board were colonels and general wives, and I was a lower rank G5 or E5 wife. I'm Sergeant, but was my husband. So anyway, so that was an amazing time. But I really want to know, in your environment without the military background, what's 4th of July like at your house?
We have always, as the kids were growing up, we loved going to watch the fireworks. We would always go down in Yorktown. They have a giant parade downtown, and it's not downtown, it's actually in the park. And the kids would decorate their bikes, and they would ride their little bikes in the parade. And that was fun. And we always had a day at the park. But we tried to make sure our kids understood why we were celebrating this day, why it was a holiday. And besides the little, petting zoo at the park, why were we doing this? And so I feel like I've raised kids that hopefully understand the importance of this holiday for us and the freedoms that we enjoy because of it. And so I have one vivid memory. I love fireworks. I love going to fireworks shows. I love all of that. And we would always do that in Yorktown. We'd go to the highest hill over at Southwestern University and bring our lawn chairs, and our friends would all gather, and we'd throw the Frisbee around, the football around for a while, and then sit and watch the fireworks. But I remember when I was a little kid, I was at my grandpa's house, and it was the 4th of July, and he had bought us sparklers, and that was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is deep East Texas, y'all. And I had that sparkler in the driveway, and I was just slinging it around, and a spark from that sparkler flew right up my nose, and I thought I was gonna die. And I remember my grandpa just being like, "You're fine, honey, you're fine." Oh my gosh! So I have a healthy fear of fireworks, but I also love them as well. Cathy, what do you guys normally do on 4th of July, or what's a 4th of July memory for you?
For our family, 4th of July is iconic. I mean, it's fireworks. 4th of July does not exist if you have not seen fireworks. So it's like, it would be like a birthday without presents, right? I mean, it's just, something is very, very wrong. And so we love fireworks. So wherever we are on the 4th of July, we get to a place where we can view some fireworks. Growing up as a kid, that was our backyard. We lit all of our own fireworks.
Oh, wow.
When our kids were little, we did some of that, but now mostly we go to the fireworks displays, and we look forward to that. This year, thanks to this program, thinking about our military, the impact, one of the things that doing this program helped me realize was, we always talk about our founding fathers and how they established this country. They wrote the Declaration of Independence, and we're going to talk about some of that today. But one of our founding fathers was a military leader who, in many ways, you could say almost single-handedly won our War of Independence against Britain, and that was General George Washington. And so this year, I am going to watch Young Washington, the movie, and I'm so excited. I'm so grateful that they got it released in time for the 4th of July. And so I'm looking forward to going and watching that with my adult kids and starting to reflect on our founding fathers. Not only did they have to put a line in the sand that says, this is where we are and this is who we are, but then they had to go and fight for it. And I just wonder if our commitment to preserving America and this amazing Constitution and the amazing freedoms that we get to experience today, if we still have that same sense of commitment. And I want to hear what you guys think. I know you've seen it on all the social media. all of the World Cup guys posting on social media going, we've been lied to. America is amazing.
Yes.
And I love watching those. They are freaking out at Buc-ee's and how nice Americans are.
And Waffle House.
Yes. And just the access that you have to everything and how wonderful it is here. And the air conditioning. Who knew that having an air-conditioned stadium was a big deal? Yet to individuals from all over the world, it's not like we're hearing from just one country that, hey, we've been lied to, America is amazing. We're hearing it from all these different countries that they love their time here. And I'm so glad. I hope that we've been hosting everyone really well.
Well, I actually spoke with my daughter who lives in Washington, D.C., and that's where you need to go for fireworks this year. Apparently, they're doing 6-7 times what their normal is going to be.
Oh, I bet.
And it's just going to be lights everywhere. But the other thing that she said was she pointed out the exact same thing you just did, that having the sports event, a worldwide sports event in the U.S., has really opened eyes for a lot of people. They just like each other and they don't understand what the big fuss is all about, And so I think that's a plus.
Soccer,
I think it's really exciting.
Soccer is bringing the world together.
Amen.
I love it. I love it so much. Well, I'm excited. Listening friends, we are taping this program the week of July the 4th, and I am leaving to go to Nashville. My daughter is moving apartments, and so my husband and I are going up to help her move in, but we're going to experience the 4th of July in Nashville. And I am so excited. We are going to brave the crowds in downtown Nashville. She lives about 15 minutes from downtown Nashville, and we're going to brave the crowds. We're going down there. They're having massive concerts down there on Broadway. I know the place is just going to be packed, but we're excited. We're like, we've got to do this. It's the nation's 250th anniversary. Yeah. They're doing
it only comes once in your life.
Only comes once in your life. And they're doing, of course, massive fireworks, but a big drone show as well. And I am super pumped to go down there and celebrate and have just a great time down there with my girl and the fireworks and all the things. Gosh, I love that we have solicited advice and stories from veterans that some we know and some we don't know. And they were kind enough to send us their experience in the military. And I can say this up front, having now spent a significant amount of time over the better part of a decade with a lot of veterans who are in my fitness classes for people with movement disorders. I have a lot of veterans in my classes. And these men and women are so passionate about the time they have spent serving our country. And I love any chance I can get to honor these brave men and women who have so selflessly served. Some have spent 25 plus years serving our country. And it's just so awesome.
It is. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. I just kind of wanted to pump everybody up that this program is going to do two things. One is going to give us a little history lesson about a gentleman that nobody remembers or knew. And then we're going to highlight some of the comments that we reached out and received from the veterans. So stay with us and we can get all of that done, I think. I first want to introduce you to two of those veterans. One of them is actually in service right now, but his name is Tyler Lambert, and he is a sergeant at Fort Hood currently. But when he got out of basic, which is the basic training camp, he was selected for a very prestigious position in the Old Guard. Now, do you know what that is?
Yes.
Okay. Cathy, no? Well, the Old Guard is the very formal, fittest military gentlemen, and I don't even know if they have women in the Old Guard, but they're the ones that stand at the tomb of the unknown soldier. They're the ones that will greet the president and his the ambassador or country head that has come to see the president, they'll stand at the door in their guard, and that's what Tyler Lambert was. And so he says, if I could say something to the youth of today, it would be to remain disciplined in everything you do. Have a standard for yourself and those around you, and don't drop that standard for anyone. And if I could do it all over again, yes, I would still serve. I wouldn't really change a thing. I've been fortunate enough.
Wow.
And this is a young man. He's still in the Army. He's actually stationed in Killeen right now at Fort Hood. But that was, and he says in his bio, I guess is a good way to call what they sent to us, that he wasn't a college boy. And so he went into the military because he wanted to be self-sufficient. So, Kerri.
Wow.
Discipline and standard from a young man that is in the military and serving our country proudly. We're so grateful. When we return to Love Talk Network, we have many more stories to share with you from these brave veterans who we're so grateful to know, and we're so grateful for their advice to us. And we will have more with Love Talk Network when we return right after this. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Love Talk Network. Coach Kerri Brinkater here in studio with Cathy Endebrock and Marlene McMichael, and we are loving our program today because we get to talk about our nation, our country, the 250th anniversary of this amazing place that we get to call home, that we get to live free lives here in the United States of America. And I love that Cathy brought up in the first segment about the World Cup that's going on right now, and how people from other countries are just having a great experience here in America. And I love that sports is bringing us together. Soccer, the football, and I love it. The games have been amazing. The crowds are awesome. I don't understand soccer. I don't get soccer, but I didn't have a kid that played soccer, but I love sports. And so I'm watching some of these games and they are fantastic. The fans are awesome. And I love that our country is rising up, and we're showing our true colors and how we love people from all over. And it's just a great testament to how this nation was built, and the best of us. And I love that so much, the heart of this country. Marlene, let me read our verse for today. It's Psalm 144, and Marlene loves this translation, the Passion Translation. And so Psalm 144, verses 1 and 2, there is only one strong, safe, and secure place for me. It's in God alone, who gives me strength for the battle. He is my shelter of love and my fortress of faith, who wraps himself around me as a secure shield. I hide myself in this one who subdues enemies before me. What a perfect and fitting verse, Marlene.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's other translations. One of them talk about the shelter of love, and it's the wingspan.
Oh.
So it's beautiful. But I want to go back to what we're all going to do today, because it's really different today.
Yeah.
I have one more soldier I want to talk about. We have lots more, but I have one more that I want to talk about now.
Yeah.
And his name is Frank Rauch. He was discharged as an E5, which is the same rank that I expect Tyler is when I read his bio a little bit earlier. But he says this, he says, military service to me is a commitment to duty and growth and gives you a sense of purpose. It helps you establish values and freedoms of our country. It also gives you a way to contribute to society and set you on a path for life. And he actually was only affiliated with the military about 6 years. But he says to the youth, the future is in your hands and God's. Now listen up, kids. He says, first you should believe in yourself. Set your goals based on your unique talents. Surround yourself with positive influences. And remember, setbacks are stepping stones to success.
Wow.
Set your goals and strive daily to achieve them. Never stop learning. Knowledge is your key to growth. Every day is a chance to shape your future and explore endless possibilities. Keep centered on, that's a military term, God and keep your mind centered on God. There was a period there that I didn't read. And enjoy your journey. And then he says, God bless.
Yes.
I think it's really important.
Wow.
But the second thing we're going to do today is a little history lesson. And this is about a man who very few of us know anything about.
I had never heard of this guy, Marlene.
Yeah.
You dug this up.
Well, I got help. But I did. And what he did for the U.S. military back in 1775, it started there, and then the war ran until 1781. So this all started when I was trying to figure out what came first, the country or the end of battle. And actually, the country came first, but the battle and much of the congressional expenses were covered by this man. His name is Haym Salomon, and he's a Polish-born American merchant and financier. And so out of his personal funds and his business ties, Salomon supported the American Revolution. He was one of the primary financiers of Continental Congress, covering all expenses for some of the members. George Washington personally asked him, because George was getting ready to go into fight General Cornwallis, and this was at one of the last battles in the war, actually. But Washington asked him for $20,000. He said it would take that much money to go in and beat the British at this particular battle. And so he got it from Mr. Salomon. Mr. Salomon, if you equate his $650,000 to support the American Revolution that he gave to the country, that's today's money. Actually, it's 2025's money is $15.1 million. It's one man gave, never got paid back, died in poverty at the age of 44, excuse me. And so his family didn't benefit from it either. But if Washington hadn't had that money, he couldn't have gone and done that last battle against Cornwallis, which changed the war. And I think that's amazing. And what these guys have done in service is also just as amazing. That's why this is a neat program, I think.
It's very, very cool. Yeah, I did a little research on Mr. Salomon as well, and apparently he was honored with a commemorative stamp, which shows him, sitting at a desk like with a writing tool. Very, very cool. So maybe that's in your stamp collection. If you, I used to collect stamps. I did not have his, but thought that was really, really neat. Well, one of the veterans go ahead, Marlene.
One more thought about him is he was a Jewish man. And I don't think it's an accident. I think this is a God thing. The man that saved the American Revolution was a Jewish man. And we are about the only country in the world that has consistently supported Israel. So I hope that connection never dies within this country.
Well, and apparently he was quite a fundraiser as well, because he gave, so much of his own money, but he raised a bunch of funds as well to help continue this endeavor, because the war did drag on for 6 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And so it was just really, it's really pretty interesting what he did. So yeah, way to go. Way to dig way far back in there. Haym Salomon, Haym Salomon. Yeah, really neat.
So when we talk about dinner table conversations, our program last week on dinner table conversations, carrying the spirit of America. This is a name I'm going to bring up at the dinner table. I thought that was really interesting that he actually gave everything, died penniless. So he invested in the future that now we all benefit from. Yet all of his gain would have been eternal gain. It wasn't any physical gain on this earth. So I don't know. I love the dinner table conversations that we're going to have this year for our 250th, the men, the women who've made a profound difference for our nation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, one of the veterans that I would like to highlight is a personal friend of mine. Each of my veterans, like I shared before, I have a personal connection with, and I'm just so proud to call them friends. This first one is Frank Sokola, and Frank served 4 years. And he said that he did not have a college option and his country was at war with communism, and he wanted to serve his country. So from 1964 to 1968, he very valiantly did that in the United States Air Force. He was in combat, as he says in his bio, in the jungle. And I think that that was a time, talking to these gentlemen who served in Vietnam and the ones that served in combat. This was a time that was just so filled with strife in our country. And many of these guys have had a lot of healing to do as they returned over the years. And Marlene, you are personal friends with someone who does great work with our honor flight here in Austin. And many of these gentlemen, in fact, 3 of the gentlemen that I'm going to share with you today have been on an honor flight. An honor flight is a flight that our veterans can take to Washington, D.C. It's fully paid for. They apply for it. They go and they are treated like royalty, as they should be. And they travel to our nation's capital and they get to see all of the monuments. And it's just a great experience.
What I'll tell you is that when we were stationed in Germany, you could feel the weight of the pressure of disapproval on the soldiers and on their families, because when the soldiers came back from World War I and World War II, they were celebrated.
Right.
When they came back from Vietnam, they were not. And it was so almost paralyzing to some people. And so today, that's not the case. That's not going to happen, and we're going to celebrate these gentlemen.
Absolutely. And I love that these men are so in love with their country. Frank says that he would absolutely, at the drop of a hat, serve again if it means protecting our country and our loved ones. He says, always remember that there's an enemy out there in many shapes and forms that would be willing and able to take down our country at a moment's notice. So it's very important to maintain a solid military force. And he's passionate about that. I thank you for your service, Frank Sokola, and I thank you for your amazing words of advice. So I love that about Frank. He's definitely an amazing guy.
Well, Coach Kerri, Marlene, I feel bad because I actually got the 3 most awesome of all of our veterans. And I don't know how exactly it worked out.
I would fight you on that.
Oh, well, I got an Army guy, an Air Force guy, and a Marine guy.
Wow.
I got total representation here. And one of my guys, a 27-year Air Force veteran, Dick Baker. Oh my gosh, I just feel like he wrote me a little letter. I mean, I know he didn't write it just to me. He wrote it to everyone that we're going to be sharing this with. But one of my favorite movies is Top Gun Maverick, Top Gun 2, right? And so Dick was actually the guy who sits in the back seat of the fighter pilot. Yeah. And so I'm like, because when I watched the movie, you think, oh, this guy's kind of like a geeky type of guy who literally goes and identifies where the missile needs to fall and marks it so that the missile can destroy it. If y'all have seen Top Gun Maverick. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Dick Baker, this letter that I'm holding in my hand, he was like one of those guys. So it's super cool. So his words to everyone, he says, my military career met all my expectations. It was my life. And you just hear the overwhelming, after serving 27 years, he says, I would do it all over again in a heartbeat, because it was the right thing to do. He says if he were to talk to any one group of Americans, he wouldn't choose just one group. He would talk to all Americans, and he would say this: enjoy the blessing of this country where dignity of the individual is paramount, where freedom rings from all corners of the nation. I would also suggest, he says, that freedom is not free, and this nation's good fortune was established and protected by the fighting men and women in conflicts since 1776.
Mm-hmm.
He gets this. He has been joining arms with men and women all the way back to 1776 to give us the nation that we get to enjoy today. And so I just say thank you so much to Dick Baker for sharing your story with us. And I have two others. One I'm going to save till the very end, from a retired Marine Corps veteran and a retired Army Reserves colonel. I was just crying when I got to read what they shared with us.
Mm-hmm. These guys have many of these guys have spent their whole lives. I have three others. And again, I know all of these guys, and they all served well over 20 years in the military. And they're all three Air Force guys. And what I find so funny, and Marlene, you've lived this. So my guys, the Army guys, they like to razz the Air Force guys, and the Air Force guys like to razz the Marines, and the Marines just don't take any mess. Like they just
It's truth.
And the Navy guys are like kind of cool about it. They're like, nah, we don't really need to say anything because we know we're the best. And so I find it hilarious that they have this general camaraderie, but yet this little competitiveness between the branches of the military, but they all are so grateful for each other. And
Yes.
I just think it's cute the way they tease each other. My next veteran that I would like to honor today is Parker Temple. We call him Park, and he is an amazing guy. This is so cool. From the time he was 10 years old, he could tell you that he wanted to be an astronautical engineer and a pilot in the service. He wanted to serve his country. At 10 years old, astronautical engineer, he knew this term, and he had researched it in the library, and this is what he wanted to do. And by golly, this is exactly what he did. And he served for 24 total years. And he did some amazing things, was a pilot, flying, non-flying, an engineer, program manager. He wrote national policies. He was a writer of histories. He was a speech writer for senior Air Force officials. This is really cool. And Marlene, I don't know if you got his bio, but he was writing speeches, congressional testimony, and articles for the Undersecretary of the Air Force. At the same time, he was writing national space policies for President Reagan. And so he had some very cool jobs. He said he loved all of them. He absolutely would do it again in a heartbeat. Several of my guys turned down promotions in their careers because their families needed a place where they could just have some stability for those final years of high school. And it makes my heart swell even more as I think about what they gave to not only our country, but the time that they sacrificed with their families, and that they were willing to give up very high ranking promotions because their families needed them to take a step back. And I so appreciate not only what they did for our country, but what they did for their families. Park says, I think it takes identifying something that you would do because you see the value in it, and to never underestimate the value for a paycheck. And I just thought, oh, wow, because he just loved his time so much. He valued it so much. And he says he would change nothing. He would serve again in a heartbeat. He didn't leave the service behind. Now he just serves his country in a different way. Thank you, Park Temple.
I love that you say that, because a number of our veterans, even though they are retired, they have not stopped serving. They serve in their community. They serve at their local VA. They continue to serve, and they actually give words to our listeners to get out there and serve, do something to give back with your life. And I
Hang
have
on, Cathy, 1 second. Let me just say this about Park. I apologize that I did not mention this. He retired as a lieutenant colonel. So,
wow.
Thank you, Park Temple.
Wow.
Go
That's
ahead.
amazing. So, retired Marine Corps veteran William Ward. And whenever I see the word Marine, it always just warms my heart because my baby brother was a Marine. And I love the strength of character of these men. They don't gloss over things. When we asked William Ward if you could do it all over again, would you still serve and why? And these were his words: yes, I would do it all over again. The Corps exacts a price, but it gave me everything: perspective, confidence, competence, discipline, character. I am grateful to be a United States Marine. And when you say it exacts a price, you can feel the weight of those words. You can hear it in my voice. You feel the weight of those words, that when these men commit their life and women commit their life to service, it does take a toll on them, on their families, but they are brave. They step forward into the fire willingly. And so, retired Marine Corps veteran William Ward, thank you so much for your service. I wish I could sit down and have lunch with you.
I love that. I love that. Marlene, have another one you want to share?
I do. This is from George Gamont, and he also retired as a colonel. He served 30 years of officer commission and then 4 years of enlisted reserve. So he was a 34-year service in the military.
Wow.
He chose the military because he grew up with a strong respect for public service. His father was a police officer for 30 years and enjoyed helping the public. And so he considered this following in his dad's footsteps. But while working part-time, I skipped a sentence there. I'm so sorry. But at first he considered following in his dad's footsteps in basically the police force or something to that effect. He met a Marine and changed that whole scenario. So his service was going to be in the Marine Corps. So after graduating high school, he joined the reserves and attended a college in Manchester, New Hampshire. And during his freshman year, the officer selection officer. It's the Arbor. Now I'm just totally lost it. But he was approached by somebody who was recruiting, basically. And so he signed up, and as a second lieutenant, he married the following day after he signed up, and then they reported to Quantico.
Oh, wow.
So he had great time in the military, did lots of different things. He points out every command he had, and it's just amazing. But what he says here, he was fortunate to have commanded troops at every level in his career. As a lieutenant, I was a platoon commander. As a captain, I was a team commander in a combat environment. As a major, I was a heavy artillery commander. As a lieutenant colonel, I was a battalion commander. As a colonel, I was a regimental commander. So it goes on. But he looks back and he says, my military service meant a great deal to me because it shaped the way I viewed responsibility, service, and commitment to others. For the rest of my life, it instilled in me a strong sense of responsibility to assist my fellow man, especially those who needed help in any way. It reinforced the importance of serving something greater than myself and carrying that sense of duty in every part of my life. And if he could do it all over again, he would. I would be proud and honored to serve again because I deeply believe in defending this country and its Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Wow.
The United States is the greatest country in the world, and we are extremely fortunate to have been born here. To me, that freedom, opportunity, and way of life are worth fighting for.
Wow. That is awesome. Tell us his name again, Marlene.
His name is George Gaumont. It's Gaumont.
Love it.
In reading through these, it reminds me there's John Adams. He was one of our founding fathers. And in 1776, he wrote this. He says, "You will never know how much it costs the present generation to preserve your freedom. I hope you will make good use of it."
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think that's such a message for today, that rather than destroying this country and making use of our freedoms, how about building this country up, strengthening this nation, serving this nation, and using these men as examples who have fought for the freedoms that we get to use, we get to enjoy today.
Absolutely. We are loving getting to honor our veterans today, those that have so valiantly served our country for so many years. We also implore you to continue to think about your service to your country and what that means for you in your community right where you are. As we head to this break, just know we have several others to mention in our short time left here on Love Talk Network, and we're so grateful for them all. We'll have more with our July 4th special with Cathy, Kerri, and Marlene when we return to Love Talk right after this. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Love Talk Network. Coach Kerri Brinkater here in studio with Marlene McMichael and Cathy Underbrock, and we are just loving talking about our veterans. And I want to highlight another veteran for you guys, a gentleman who served our country valiantly for almost 24 years, Stan Riplogel. Stan, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with me. I've loved getting to know Stan over the past 5 or 6 years, and Stan is very proud of his service in the United States Air Force, and he was drafted, in the Army. He was drafted into the Army, but he enlisted in the Air Force. There is a difference. I have come to know this. The Vietnam War was going on, and he knew that if he got drafted, he'd end up going there. He was married with 2 children, and so he decided to enlist in the Air Force. And I thank Stan so much for his service. He would encourage our today's youth to join the military. He said, do it, for several reasons. Number one, for the discipline. He said that it provided him with so many job skills. He had a lot of different jobs while he was serving in the military, and he was able to open his own business because of the skills that he learned while in the military. And I think this is so very important. He said that he would absolutely choose to serve again today. Do you hear that word? Choose. He would choose to serve again today. He feels that it is our duty to serve our country. And by not everyone gets to do it by officially serving in the military, but he encourages everyone to find a way to serve in their own communities. Thank you so much, Stan, for your service to our country.
Well, and I'd love to share with our listening audience Colonel Gary Dennett. Colonel Dennett, you made Marlene cry. I will just get that out there.
It's true.
Right now. I'll tell you why in just a minute. I love it. This is a small town farm boy from Kansas. And he says the military service changed a small town farm boy into a confident, proud American that knew that this country is worth serving in whatever capacity or whatever profession you decide to take on. He says, I was always proud of my country, but I never knew just how proud I was until I saw what it looked like compared to other parts of the world. I think that's a huge statement. Mm-hmm. To the youth of today, Colonel Dennett would say this: be thankful for what you have and that you live in a country that allows you to live in the freedom that does not exist anywhere else in the world. To the men of today, he would say, teach your children about the history of this country that they may not get in school, the history that they may not get in school. And above all, teach your children patriotism. I agree, 100% up to that. Thumbs up to that, Colonel Dennett. And he encourages the educators of today to teach the youth of today the future of this country, and a country that has sacrificed to give them a better life today. And this is how you made Marlene cry. I'll share this, Colonel Dennett. We asked you, if you could do it all over again, would you still serve, and why? And you said this: at the age of 87, I would serve my country again today if called to do so. I love that. That is the heart of a lion, that today at age 87, if called upon to serve, he would put on that uniform and get out there and do what needs to be done. That is a brave man. I love that.
Oh my gosh, at 87 years old.
Yep. I got teary again.
Yeah.
So amazing. Well, my final guy that I ask to say a few words is Gene Davenport. And Gene is a little bit different because he's not only served 4 years in the Marines, but then he went on to serve 20 years in the Army. And
Wow.
so I know that's kind of cool, right? And I know that Gene was in Vietnam. Gene also has been on an honor flight, and he absolutely loved being on that honor flight. I can't say enough. Veterans that are listening about the honor flight out of Austin, there's many. They're out of many different cities. But the honor flight Austin, pretty close to our hearts here. Gene also spent 29 years in civil service, working at places for the White House Military Office, Defense Information Systems Agency, Mobile Emergency Response, Department of Defense. I mean, this guy is through and through.
Go Army.
Yeah, go Army for sure. He served so valiantly. He also turned down a promotion at a very critical time in his career because of his family. And he served both combat and obviously non-combat. And I love what Gene says: prepare for the future, prepare for your life, and set goals. Have these ridiculous pie in the sky goals that you think are not attainable, because they might just be attainable. And you might be able to reach them. Find a place to volunteer. And I love that Gene, even after his service in the military, he has volunteered extensively, and he still is volunteering as an auditor for his local VFW. He serves as the chief financial officer as well for his local VFW. I tell a story on Gene. This is how conscientious he is. This is from a lifetime of military service. He serves as the chief financial officer. So he reconciles the books every month, right? And I remember he came into class one day. He couldn't find a penny. He was short a penny in the books. One penny, girls. And Gene searched and searched and searched and went back until he found that penny. All of you who still balance your checkbooks and who reconcile these things on a monthly basis, you know that finding that penny is very important. And so I love Gene so much for his conscientious nature, as well as his service to our community, to our veterans still today. Thank you, Gene Davenport, for your service.
Well, and I love this, that Army, Marine, Air Force, Navy, these men have served all over. And like Colonel Dennett, he was a military policeman in Germany. He became an airborne ranger and was sent to Vietnam. He served in the reserves and National Guard. These men have been all over the world. And so they speak with experience, knowing what it's like to live in other nations.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I so appreciate these men taking their time to send us their thoughts, because we asked them a lot of questions, and we told them, hey, you don't have to answer all the questions.
Every one of them did.
They did. They're so conscientious. That discipline never goes away, right? So one more time, I just want to thank the veterans that sit. I only ask a few. I have so many veterans. I'm going to call some of their names here that are also in my classes that I just want to thank so much. But today we honored Frank Sokola, Jean Davenport, Stan Raplogi, and Park Temple, and then some of my other veterans. And I know I'm going to miss a few. Guys, please forgive me if I did not call your name, but these are the ones off the top of my head: Paul Devon, John Clegg, Marshall Duke, Don Story, Dudley Bourne, Chuck Aaron Freed, Antonius Van Bokut, Mike Capps, and Dr. Mike Weir. Thank you, gentlemen, for your service. Y'all, I do have to say this. One of those guys grew up. He grew up in the Netherlands, and he came to Hawaii when he was 18 years old. And he walked into a recruiting office and he was like, I'm a messed up Dutch guy. Do you guys take foreigners? And they said, yes, we do. Would you like to serve in the United States Army? And he said, yes. What do I need to do? This man served our country valiantly for, I believe it was over 20 years. And he loves our country. This guy is one of the most patriotic men I have ever met in my life. And so thank you to all of our veterans for your service. Marlene, do you want to tell us your guys' names again?
I do. Sergeant Tyler Lambert, who's still in the military. Colonel George Gamont, and Frank Roach.
Rauch, right?
It sounds like couch. Rauch.
There we go.
Yes, like I did look up pronunciation when I did this. But all of them are amazing. And the advice that they gave, I think, is very
critical.
Yeah. We must do honor our country, honor those that are in the service at all times, because we need them.
And ladies, I just want to say thank you, a special thank you to my guys, Major William Ward, love you. Colonel Gary Dennett, thank you so much for everything you shared. And Colonel Dick Baker, aka Colonel Marlon R. Baker. It has been such a joy getting to know you men and sharing their stories with our listeners. Friends, you can get this program if you want to share it at our archives at lovetalknetwork.com. If you want to get the audio and video, you can go visit us on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, Love Talk Network, and you'll be able to pull it up there. We love you, and we just thank you for sharing your stories with us. And friends, we thank you this 4th of July for stepping in and having conversations of what it means to have commitment to the freedoms, to what it means to uphold the freedoms that these men and women have fought for, and to step in and serve this country that we love. Coach Kerri, Marlene, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Just again, thank you so much, our veterans, for serving. And listening friends, we pray that today on July the 4th, that you would honor our country in a way that brings glory to not only those that have served, but brings glory to our God, to God our Father. We are so grateful to live in a free nation where we can speak freely over the airwaves about God and country. What a blessing that is. And so we want to continue to pass along that information to the generations to come about the men and women who have so bravely fought for the freedoms that we get to enjoy today. Thank you, friends, for listening. For Cathy Endebrock and Marlene McMichael, I'm Coach Kerri Brinkater, and we'll see you next time right here on Love Talk Network. Happy 4th of July.